Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to Super Old Games Saturday. And if I sound a little clearer than I have in the past couple weeks, it's because I have new sound equipment. I'm the proud owner of a Samsung G-Track Pro, because I wanted to get some better audio going, and also eventually want to get other people playing or witnessing this game, the games I play with me. Anyway, let's go into something with this. Every year this month, at least once a month, or actually, it has been once a month, I'm playing a game out of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise because this year is the 30th anniversary. So, to celebrate that, what I've been doing is playing a game each month, and this month we're doing 3 of them. I'm amazed it's been such a short time already, but on the gracious donation, or not donation, recommendation of Alekverse, who was a star last week on Metal Gear Solid and through every episode of that, and I thank him very much, and when he appears, I will be sure to reiterate that. He wanted to see 3. We're going to spin-off territory tonight. We're doing Sonic the Fighters, but playing on the Xbox 360 version. It was also in the arcade, and there's also a version on PS3 and on the Sonic Gems Collection. But I also have Sonic Mega Collection Plus. This is an Xbox game, and what that is it has Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which he wanted to see as well. But I always believe in giving people more value than they expect, or giving them something that they don't expect. So we're going to play Mean Bean Machine later, but we're also going to be playing the Game Gear version, because Sonic Mega Collection Plus has both the Genesis and the Game Gear versions, and they are the best ported versions that I have that I can also play both in the same place. So, to start things off, we're going to start things right with Sonic the Fighters. Again, this is the Xbox Live version. This is an arcade game that came out in 1996. It was from Sega, and it was developed by AM2, the same team behind Virtua Fighter and Fighting Vipers. And both of those are way better, I'm not going to lie to you. But, well, again, I got a request. I want to play this. I do have the Gems collection to play it, but I figured I may as well just get it for the 360 to show off everything. So, we're going to start it, and we're going to go into some interesting cases with this game, because, like a lot of people, I never really played the original Sonic the Fighters in the arcade. It came out in the US under a totally different name. It was Sonic Championship, and I never saw a machine of that until I was at, I guess it was at MagFest a couple years ago. They cart them in. So, that was the one case I saw it, but it wasn't until the Gems Collection, which was the first release of it, and again, we'll get into the game more, but I just want to make sure my settings are all okay. We have normal attack, round count of 2, time limit set to 99, attack power, barriers, game type, which is based around your barrier usage, because you're kind of limited based on how your shields go. So, we're going to see how that turns out. Alright, so with that, I think we can get started. And the screen size is set. I'm going to hit the back button because you can also go into options just to configure everything we need. Music volume is good. Screen size large. You can also go full screen, but this is not designed around 16:9, so we're not going to do that. There's also normal, but it's too small, so large is a nice happy medium. And brightness you can play with too. And controls, I have it set to the way I play a lot of fighting games on the Dreamcast or with this controller, as is, because the Dreamcast controller and the 360 controller are pretty much the same for the most part. So kick on the Y button, grab or punch and block, which is on B, X is punch, A is block, and then some other elements that I can go into later. So we're set. Okay, quit out. Alright, let's watch the opening cinematic or the track mode as is. And it's kicking kind of, I guess, jazzy music, where, okay, we're at the Death Egg again with Robotnik, and he's, you know, getting our revenge. Dr. Robotonic. Okay, so Sonic Adventure 1 was not the only place that made that mistake. So, Sonic and Tails, they get on Tails' rocket, we're gonna go and take care of them. But no, we have a problem. It's a single seater. We have to get 8 Chaos Emeralds first. Who will save the world? Yeah, there's 8 Chaos Emeralds in this game, who knew? And it kind of goes to the joke people say about Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog, and Sonic Heroes, which is Shadow's holding an extra emerald. So, I mean, there would have to be 8, but this is way before Shadow came around. There's one other character we have that's kind of new, Beam the Dynamite. We'll see him a bit later. We'll see that nice AM2 island motif or graphic of the company. I do have AM2 stuff, but I can't necessarily say the same about this one, but I will say this. My opinion on this is a little better now than it once was. First, I played it like, this is stupid and everything. I was playing it on the GameCube version of Gems Collection. So I was thinking, oh, I blame the controller because that's a terrible controller for fighting games, except for Smash Bros. But even with the PS2 adapter, I was like, yeah, it still didn't play well. But I played it more, I kind of got into it a bit, and when I picked it up on the 360, I was able to kind of have a little more fun. Okay, and there's some, actually, that was my record when I played it. Hey, Electverse, how you doing? I have Sonic the Fighters to start, and then we'll go into Mean Bean Machine a little later. Hope you're doing well, and thank you for stopping by, and hopefully you can hear my voice decently over the new sound equipment I have. If you can't, let me know, and I will adjust the volume. This is actually my first time using it. But yeah, as I was saying, this is the Xbox 360 version of Sonic the Fighters. It was also an arcade game initially from 1996. It ported to Sonic Gems Collection on GameCube and PS2, and this version's on PS3. So we're playing this one, and also the achievements are insanely easy to get. I think I sat down when I bought this. 20 minutes. I got everything. We'll go over that at the end of the play. Alright, so we're going to play through the game to start. We have Sonic the Hedgehog, Tails, Knack the Weasel. He's Fang the Sniper, but I call him Knack the Weasel. Being the Dynamite, who's new to this game. Bonk the Polar Bear, I spelled that wrong. Espio the Chameleon, Amy, Rosie the Rascal, and Knuckles the Echidna. We're going to play Sonic. This is the only time we're seeing Sonic tonight, because there's no Sonic in Mean Bean Machine. Alright, we're on South Island, then we're going to beat Knuckles up, and yeah, there's a reason why they give us Knuckles first, because he's insanely easy to destroy. And it's definitely an interesting take on Sonic for fighting, because this is the first time we've seen him doing this. This is before he was in Smash Brothers Brawl, this is before even Sonic Battle in the Game Boy Advance, which we played. And so you have all this kind of cartoony aspect, and from what I understand, this is developed at the same time. Oh, and I got a perfect. There's an achievement for that, so I'm basically going to be getting all the achievements, I guess, in retrospect, playing this, just because of how this game works. Even before they tell you what they are. But anyway, definitely a lot of cartoony aspects, which is also how Fighting Vipers was. And they kind of liked that idea of some of the expressive characters when they were developing that game. So they said, let's do this with Sonic. And so they did it. Sonic Team agreed. And then the idea is, like, we're not knocking blood out of anybody, we're knocking rings out, and when they run out of rings, it's going to be death, and Knuckles is kicking them. We do have a couple moves here. If you hit all the face buttons, or the punch, kick, and guard, you do that dodge. And you can also do a spin dash into the enemy. Or Knuckles is. Insert Knuckles saying, oh no, from Sonic Adventure here. But trust me, we'll get to Sonic Adventure, and that's going to be a glorious time when we do. Alright, next up we have Amy on the flying carpet. Which I guess is supposed to be like Sandalphus Zone, because that was one of the more recent, or Sonic Knuckles was more of the recent Sonic games at the time. I guess they're kind of basing off of that. Anyway, yeah, Amy has her hammer, but I'm basically making it look easy. I have it on normal, but that's not going to last for long. In fact, I was doing a little bit of a test early on the sound as well. And when I did it, I think I just said, like, okay, let me stand in the corner so I can test the sound, see what's going on. She's just standing there, not doing anything. And look, I know Amy loves Sonic the Hedgehog, but I was like, yeah, oh, there we go. We're just doing a dash. Alright, that's a no barrier, by the way. When you hit the A button, in my case, you hold a barrier up like this, and if it gets broken, it goes away. And Amy, because this computer Amy used up all hers, she tends to do that when you play. There is a play in this game on the GameCube, so your memories on Sonic Fighters. Do tell. It was released on Sonic Gems Collection on the GameCube, and what your opinion is on this game. I'm a little... Well, that was weird. Saw that, right? Just flew to the side of that. I mean, I know they're going for cartoony physics, so that was kind of strange, but... Yeah, I definitely have memories playing on the GameCube a little, too. But I'd like to definitely hear what chat's memories are, and also if they played the arcade version, because I didn't, and it was released here in the US in a very limited run. It's called Sonic Championship, so that made it a little more confusing. In fact, it wasn't until MagFest a couple years ago I saw they carded in their arcade machines as they do. And, well, that was the first time I'd ever seen the US arcade machines. Yeah, do tell on your memories of Sonic the Fighters what they are. And usually with anything else from AM2. I think it was an interesting experiment. I would agree with that, because I'll say this. It was Gems Collection was the first place I played it, which I think is where most people played this game first time. I kind of thought, okay, this is really stiff compared to stuff like Virtua Fighter, and I didn't play Fighting Vipers at the time. Fighting Vipers, by the way, is also on the 360. In fact, Electros, I want to thank you for something, because, well, thank you for a couple things. I want to thank you for everything in Metal Gear Solid. That was, you were a star on that playthrough. Thank you very much for that. I'm still loving that experience. I just got my ass kicked by Bark the Polar Bear, who's a new character in this. Well, I'll thank you for that. Thank you for this recommendation. Thank you for your viewership each week. I do appreciate it. And also, when I bought Fighters, when you recommended, like, I want to see this, I went into the Xbox Live store and said, okay, I'm going to buy this for $5. But I also said to myself, you know, let me spend like $20 on some other stuff anyway. So I picked up Fighting Vipers. I really liked it, and so I wouldn't have easily bought it if not for your recommendation. So thank you for that. Recommendation for this anyway. But, yeah, to go back to what you're saying, I do think it was an interesting experiment, too. I didn't like this at all when I first played it. All right, I got a game over. This is going to be an arcade situation where you're free play, so it won't be a problem. But I like the experiment. I like the cartoony physics. I like the cartoony look. I like the cartoony, I guess, sounds. I do like how this version has some little enhancements on the graphics, like the reflection on the ground, which I don't know is in the arcade version. My first experience was the bowling alley, and they had an arcade cabinet. Okay, that's definitely interesting to hear because I never saw this thing in the wild. I wanted to play it. I remember they were going to think about putting it out on the Saturn, but that fell through. So, yeah, I never played it that way, and it wasn't until the Gems Collection came out that I first played it. Oh yeah, you can do that dodge, and then they'll have a little confusion over their head. But also, the thing about Bark as a character, he hits like a truck, so you gotta be real careful about that. But, alright, so since you have experience with the arcade game, in this and on Gems Collection, it was a, oh wow, and look at that, like 3 punches, and I'm already down to almost my low health. I mean, it was directly pulling from the arcade for pretty much every release. So, I would assume it was pretty close. So I'll definitely be curious to hear more about what you think on the arcade version, and maybe I guess there's always going to be that different case when you're playing in an arcade and you have, you know, the joystick and the buttons as opposed to playing it on a home controller, whether it's the GameCube, the PS2, if you look somewhere that Gems came out for it, and the 360 and PS3. Oh, and I got it perfect. Okay, that was lucky. Especially against Bark. Again, was newly added in this game. We never really saw much of him again. Well, at least until Sonic. I think he had a cameo in Generations and also in Sonic Mania. The boss of Mirage Saloon Act 2 Pros came out, as well as another character we see. But first we have SBO the Chameleon in the Mushroom Hill Zone, which does not have the Mushroom Hill Zone music from Sonic & Knuckles, but still, it's nice. But it does have the little sound of the boom or the boink when you hit to the mushrooms in the background. Yeah, I don't know, hopefully you heard that. I mean, I'm not hearing a whole lot because, alright, I just got thrown into those. But I do like that effect where, like, the spores are coming off of it. Though not in the replay, weirdly enough. Yeah, they didn't have that going on the replay. Actually, one thing I probably should show off. I'm kind of going a mile a minute on this game because, alright, you're seeing what's going on. We have the different characters using cartoony stuff. SBO with his, I think, second appearance in the series in the game. Yeah, after Knuckles Chaotix. Yeah, I'm being tongued. Okay, that's, I think, the only time I can think where he actually uses his tongue to do anything. Right, so, but yeah, like, we're beaten up and going through everything there. I only played the arcade once, and I was 5. Okay. I would think then, and that goes back to the idea of when arcades were more prevalent around, well, outside of Japan, they still are there, but the idea that you see a game in an arcade and you're like, oh yeah, especially at a young age, you want to play it. You're curious about what it is and what attracts you to it. And I would say in my case, like, I mean, when I first heard about this game was the thought of them doing a Saturn port, and they didn't, but me thinking, well, cool, Sonic fighting game. Everybody else is doing fighting games, and also that was at the time when, you know, Mortal Kombat was around, and everybody was nervous about that being corrupting to children because of the violence. It was definitely a violent game, not intended for children, but still. This was one that seemed like maybe it had easier sells. Like, oh yeah, I could say to my mom, yeah, it has Sonic. I'm just, you know, knocking rings out. She's like, okay, fine. Kind of like when Smash Brothers came out. So that would have helped in that way if I'd have played it in 4. But yeah, that's actually this funny story. Things about arcade games when you're younger. I think I mentioned this at one point before when I start archiving some of this stuff. I got to figure out some of the editing situations because, well, that's really the barrier there. But I think I brought up at one point that when I was younger, one of the first experiences I had knowing of an arcade was I think I was on a trip at Ski Lodge, and they had arcade machines around. Like they had Outrun. I never really got to play it, but it wasn't until years later. But that's when I saw that, and that's one of my first memories of an arcade game, and another Sega arcade game as is. But that was definitely more prevalent in arcades here than Sonic Fighters or Sonic Championship, as it was known. Alright, dodge out of the way. Yeah, again, there is some elements of what Smash Brothers would come to do a little, particularly the barrier aspect of this, but yeah, this definitely predated it by a little bit, about 3 years. Alright, so yeah, clap on, clap off. I mean, I could just think, going back to Mortal Kombat again, yeah, the Jax fatality in Mortal Kombat 2, doing that, yeah, but yeah, that wouldn't happen, you know, Sonic clapping the head off of SBO. then again, Shadow the Hedgehog was allowed to happen that way, and, you know, I may as well get this out of the way. That's the next Sonic game we're doing for Super Sonic Game Saturday. I have a little more, things I gotta do with it. I gotta complete a couple playthroughs, sort of it. 3 of them, actually. I did 7. You have to do 10 of them in order to unlock the last story. Because how that's gonna work, again, as I've mentioned, and it kind of makes it fine that I'm losing constantly to SBO here. That we're gonna play one playthrough of that where you, the audience, are gonna tell me which paths I want to take. And then we're gonna do that, and then afterwards we'll do the last story. That's next month. It'll be a little later next month for reasons I'll explain as we go on tonight. I always like the losing animation. I always like losing because the animations are hilarious. Yeah, they are, and that's one thing to say about this game, and I can't take away. They're very expressive. You see right there when I'm getting tongued by SBO, or when he's doing like that slap there, he has like a big smile on my face. Or in my case, I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing stars around my face, and I'm like gritting my teeth. And you could say that, I mean, there are other games like you at the time where you're like, okay, you see certain things with their animations with how they looked, but with this one, in a weird way, you kind of felt the pain more than some other fighting games just because of how expressive it was and how cartoony and how much they like stretched things. Or earlier, I think we saw this one was doing with Amy. She hit me with the hammer, and the hammer actually shrinks you in this game. So now you spin dash him into the ground and he's down. But again, those little attention to details, and that's one thing I do like about this game. How it looks. I think in my case, my problem with this game as far as like, and it is a me problem to a certain extent, is that I compare this to Virtua Fighter because it's from the same people who made Virtua Fighter. I'm thinking, well, it should have the tactile feel of that game. And to be fair, that game's a little stiff too, but I feel it's less so than this. But again, the counter-argument to this probably would be that, hey, this is intended as a more cartoony game, and that is a fair point. I can't necessarily say that, that was close. Unfortunately, I got karate chopped in the face. And I mean, I think in some ways it kind of rationalizes the loosey-goosey style. And actually, when you do get game over, they do tell you little moves. And you do have, in this version, they do have the command list. Let's try that diagonal. There you go. So you hit diagonal the punch, and then the up punch, and you do like that. Okay, sort of do a chop that way. Oh, okay, yeah, indeed. Or do the stomp thing, which is how I usually play Virtua Fighter. Or get my foot stomped. Okay, that's bringing back memories of Donkey Kong Country. Like at the end of that game when, you know, oh, right in the mushrooms. Okay, that definitely looks like it hurt. And that's the idea. Like, it's one of those, you have those reactions like, oh, that's gotta hurt. Even though they're getting rings knocked out of them. But again, because of the cartoony style, they're gonna be fine, and we'll just have to knock SBO into Sonic Heroes, at least as it is. Because I think that's the next time after this we see him outside of the comics. There's actually all these characters in this, including the new ones, like Bark and, well, we'll see, Bean a little bit. They were present in the comics, the Archie comic in particular. Alright, finally did it. We got the 4th of 8 Chaos Emeralds. Yeah, there are 8 in this game. Alright, so good old friend Tails on the Candy Cruise. I'm gonna assume we're meeting, Tails from, alright, indeed. Yeah, we're meeting Tails from, Sonic Lost World. I guess I'm gonna get into that now. Tails has bipolar disorder in that game, and I'm not joking, because there are cutscenes in that where he gets really, really happy of things, and then on a dime, he'll go completely, you know, angry, and I don't know where it comes from. It really makes the game's tone really upsetting. I'm not gonna lie about that. We'll get to Sonic Lost World at some point, just because I have it and show it off. But right now, we're, again, beating the hell out of our best friend, but again, he takes it in stride. I guess you could also argue this, which is, when playing in 2-player for, like, Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, Tails can jump on spikes, get crushed to death, and comes back none the wiser. So I guess we could just assume it's that perspective. Like, he's used to that, he knows that he's not going to get hurt. I guess Sonic knows he's not going to get hurt as well, so you kind of take that as maybe the little joke. Or, again, the fact that you're in a fighting game concept. Same as, like, when... The Tails is not in Smash Brothers, but his Mii costume was in... Oh, that was unique. I didn't see him... Okay, he airlifted me to throw me down, but usually just dropped me on the ground. I never saw him throw me against the wall like that. Or the side of the Candy Cruiser. Which is a nice effect, because I'm kind of going down the river, and then going down the cave, and, well, he sidestepped me and I just punched him. Alright, and you do have a clear time going on, and a total time like with a lot of the other AM2 fighters. Okay, here's Knack the Weasel, or Fang the Sniper, as he's called in canon. I'm gonna say this cheapest character in the game. Can somebody argue against that, perhaps? Because he brought a gun to the fist fight, so You just hit that punch button with him. He shoots the gun out, and he has an attack. I'll see if you can kill that. Not bad. He does this, like, dash thing, which almost looks like, oh, yeah, lucky as far as, what, me hitting him or me being in the casino zone? Or that. Yeah, that attack. He was running towards me. The easiest way to avoid that is just do the sidestep. Which, again, the way I have it set up is just hitting that left trigger the way I have it set up. And basically just hitting down to, like, sidestep and then spin dash right into him or get shot in the face. Again, preview to Shadow the Hedgehog this month. Of course, Knack the Weasel was in Sonic Triple Trouble, which is a game I would like to play at some point, because that's fun. Alright, so what I'm going to say then is I guess then this game doesn't necessarily have balance, but again, back then, was there really a blueprint on how to balance your fighting games? Which I guess you could feasibly say, well, maybe Street Fighter 2. But even at the time, like some of the Mortal Kombat's, like, 3 was around at this time. And it has, you know, notorious aspects to it, but yeah, I just got shot. Thankfully, they're cork bullets, so I'll be fine. And then I always thought this was a weird, you know, animation of me, losing. I mean, he just does that pogo thing on his tail. Which I guess kind of fits with how Triple Trouble worked to an extent. Although in Triple Trouble, he was a little more of a klutz. And I guess it's, at this point, you realize, you know what, I have these guns I haven't been using in the last game. Maybe he was able to get the money that he wanted the emeralds for. Maybe that's why he's here, because according to the lore of Sonic Triple Trouble, he doesn't know if the emeralds are worth anything. I just perfected him and I almost knocked him out on the stage. He can't do that. Unfortunately, you can't do what you did in Fighting Vipers, which is knock, unless, I guess, correct me if I'm not right on this, chat. I don't think you can knock the walls down to knock them out of the arena. Matter of fact, when I played Fighting Vipers, that was an interesting... Actually, I just noticed something. I think the spin dash is reflecting the bullets, which might make sense when I think about it. Or I'll just get shot in the face that way. But he doesn't have barriers, and thankfully those barriers... Okay, I've been playing really reckless by not using the barriers, but you have a no-barrier situation, you run out, and those carry across rounds. I think there's also options in this release to basically change that. But I went by the default. Oh, looked like I was jumping on the side of the arena there. There's also something else I'll show. I'll show this off in the next round, or when I, you know, have to do this one again. Alright. Alright, yeah, keep bouncing on the pogo tail. Alright, now what I'm going to show off is, I think it's called Hyper Mode. Oh, still, not that. Yeah, if you press back and, or no, it's back or forward? Okay, it's, yeah, back and punch kick, I believe, which I have that set on the right bumper. You get a sort of invincibility. Okay, not invincible, but you can do certain things, and you can also press button combinations to do a special attack. Although it does use up one of your barriers, so be careful about that. Alright, yeah, this is going to be the fall of it, but again, this is an arcade game, so free play is an effect, and I'm not ashamed of using it. Actually, that being said, I do like the idea of how I can kind of do the dodge and do some 3D movements, which actually was a little before Virtua Fighter would do that with the dodge mechanic. Actually, well, actually, you know what? I take that back because I think Virtua Fighter 3 was out or coming out at the time that this game was around. I mean, Virtua Fighter 3 had just released. So it was like 3 years later until we got it on the Dreamcast and finally did it. Alright, one more round. Let's get best of 3, as is want for fighting games. Alright, let's take care of Mr. Sniper, or Fang the Sniper, Knack the Weasel. Send him back to Sonic Mania as well, because we won't see him until then. I did think that was a great touch when you get into Sonic Mania, you fight the boss that way, and then Bark, Bean, and Fang pop out, and then you get like the Game Gear, you know, losing the range sound beat. That thing, which I don't know if I did a good job of that, but I guess it brought me to victory, so I'm not going to complain. Okay, that's stage 6. I think we have 2 more left. Yeah, alright, here is Bean the Dynamite. First appearance in this game, and from what I understand, he was based on a character in a game called Dynamite Ducks, which I believe was an arcade game for Sega from the 80s. I never played it. I don't know if chat's played it, or what their experiences is with playing him in this game, or getting pecked in the face like that, and bombed, which of course was brought back to Sonic Mania. Actually, I guess then, since chat has experience, or Lectures, you have experience, what character you play as, and what were your tactics usually? Did you do like dodges like me, and then kicks, and then some other things? Or did you use Bean and, peck me? Or peck characters? Okay, he's going hyper mode too. So I think this is where the enemies start using it. I probably should use it, and then also use, there we go. Because you have to use it for pressing back in that, and then I think you do a rotational on that with the punch button. I don't remember. Also, I have the block and the kick button, which I have set for the right trigger. Oh, there we go. Actually, I just realized, looks like we're in, I guess, oil. Yeah, this is, it's like oil, except there's bombs going down. Actually, yeah, it is. The background is the city for oil. Actually, I didn't know. Credit for being able to play this and notice that detail. I also do love the way that the camera zooms in a little bit. Dynamite Ducks, I remember that from Happy Console Gamer. Did that ever get any home ports? Because I thought it did, but I don't think I have anything that has it. In that case, I'd be curious to take a look at it, but I'm trying to think, because it wasn't on... Because I know Sega released the Astro City Mini in Japan recently. I don't think it was on that. I don't think there was like a home console port. Alright. So there's Robotnik. He's here. He cloned me on the giant wing, or the wing fortress, I guess. And now we gotta fight ourselves. Alright, so I'll have to take a look at Dynamite Ducks only because I've never played it. And again, it's another Sega game that I'm not familiar with. Which gets to do an interesting case when you're like a fan of a company and you realize, hey, there's a game by them I never played. And then it ties to something like this. Actually, I guess I may as well bring on one other thing up, because I mentioned this was going to come to Saturn and it never happened. But it kind of did come to Saturn in a little bit of a way, because in 1997, Sega released Fighters Megamix, which is a fighting game that was kind of a mixture of Virtua Fighter and of Fighting Vipers. It had characters from both. It basically is as close to Super Smash Bros. As far as fighting that Sega ever got, but they also had other characters in it. And one thing about that is they had Bean and they had Bark as playable characters. I found you, Faker. Fake? I think you're the fake child around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Ha! You're not even good enough to be my fake. I'll make you eat those words. There's no time to play games. You won't even get the chance. There you go. Yes, anytime you quote something from Sonic Adventure, I probably will know every piece of dialogue. One thing that was also missing from that quotation of mine is the fact that the Dreamcast, actually every release of that game, the dialogue interrupts. In fact, I think people realized that, hey, they pulled the sound off of the CD, and they realized that, yeah, the way they did the mixing, like, they're constantly tripping over their lines. You don't actually hear the full dialogue. But that helped, because I did destroy my Faker, indeed. So thank you very much for bringing that up, Electverse. Also hinting to when I'm going to do Sonic Adventure 2 at some point. They should. Alright, we got all 8 emeralds now. So I can challenge the Death Egg 2. Do you know who I am? I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, at the end of the fight. Thank you. I'm sorry. My mind slipped. Right, we're getting on Tails' Rocket! And now we're at the Death Egg's Eye with Metal Sonic. Oh, Christ. This boss is insanely difficult, but then again, it's the last stage, so I guess it should be. Yeah, we defeated him very easily when we were playing Sonic CD a few months ago. That's not happening this time. It took me about... I'm trying to think, when I played this after I bought the 360 release, it took me a while to go through this part of the game. I guess while that happens, let me quickly go back to the thing I was saying with Fighters Megamix. Because in Fighters Megamix on the Saturn, you did have Bark and Bean as characters. And I think this is the best time to bring this up. That was a very strange and weird game as far as some of the fighters. You could actually, I'm not joking, if you've never played Fighters Megamix before, you could play as the car from Daytona USA, and it was hilarious. It has its back tires as its feet, its front tires as its arms to fight and punch, and it has like a run-over attack, and I think you're playing on the Daytona track, and it says, you have like the music going, the rolling start, and it's like, yeah, it's a rolling start to kick your ass, and it's amazing. Honestly, I should get and show that game off, but I would have to track a copy of it down. And also get my girlfriend's Saturn overdue with it. Which I'm planning at some point because there's some Sonic games that we can show off on that. Yeah, but we're losing to Metal Sonic. Alright, there we go. So they tell us about the Hyper Power, which is back, and the Punch Kick button. So I'll try that, and I'll try to do the attack, which I think is like a dive. Yeah, you have to do a rotation and that, and alright, here's the thing, I'm playing this on the 360. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't have a very good directional pad, especially compared to it on PS3. So, yeah, I'm not gonna have much success with that. I mean, it's playable specifically, but unfortunately I also don't have one of those 360 pads, the ones that, I don't know if you're familiar, they released it late in the system's life, where it has like a D-pad that kind of can be shifted upwards, so it's a little more... It's not the disc that the way it is on the 360 normally, but I don't have one of those controllers, so I can't really use that. Especially as I get myself drilled by, you know, Metal Sonic. Again, I guess this makes up for me beating him handily last time. Well, again, yeah, he's doing that, and he's just pushing me to the side while I'm just doing the I'm waiting. And we'll definitely get into that aspect of things when we get to the Beam Machine, which again, we're going to play the Genesis version mostly, we're beating that one, and then we're going to take a brief look at the end of the Game Gear version, just because there wouldn't be another reason to show off, okay, he's bouncing off the fence like that, but also, there wouldn't be another reason to show off the Game Gear version unless I, you know, pull that collection out again, which I actually will be doing in 2 months, but... Because of that, I figured, well, we'll take a quick look. And most people don't know that version, so we'll give it a shot. We've got to figure out taking care of Metal Sonic and showing how, you know, talk about the faker right there. It's like, actually, you know what, this is probably the place I should be pulling out that. Oh, he lasers you. I didn't know he could do that. Alright, well, yeah, that, but also pulling out the, quotes from Sonic Heroes. I guess it should be, too bad it's all over. For you! At some point I'll have to play Sonic Heroes eventually as well, which I'd be using the Xbox version 4, the one I have, and one of the easiest to get going as far as an HD setup. And actually, when we do Shadow the Hedgehog next month, it is the Xbox version we're using. Which again, is a unique case between everybody who plays it on the GameCube and PlayStation 2. Yeah. Oh, that was interesting. His eyes kind of showed like damage. Again, great attention to detail. Great attention to detail on the animations. Even to say things about the way it plays. Oh, alright, yeah, he took advantage of the fact that I was lining up for that attack. Got kicked. But again, it does show the attention to detail, and that's what I could say about this game, if nothing else. Even if I have issues with how it plays, there was definitely a lot of love put into this as far as the look and some of the aspects of it. Why doesn't Eggman use Metal Sonic more often? Good question. I mean, I guess let's go into that briefly then. Okay, Sonic CD, clearly. Knuckles Chaotix, yes. He had him in Sonic Adventure, but had him in, like, a cryo tube, which he didn't use him. There's Sonic 4 Episode 2. There was, Sonic Heroes, which was basically sort of him not using him, but then kind of using him. And then, actually, a little bit with, Mania. But I guess to answer that question, I don't know. I mean, I guess with Robotnik always, or Eggman as it is, either or, you can pick the poison that way. I guess... Because here's the thing about Eggman as a character. He's so dedicated to beating Sonic anyway that he basically is the walking definition of insanity in the sense of doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the same result. Kind of like how I'm fighting Metal Sonic now, but still... Actually, I should probably do the dodge a little more and avoid that grab, because that's one of the most powerful attacks he has. I would say that he probably doesn't think to use Metal Sonic much because he thinks, well, alright, he has some new technology and he gets blinded by that, which I guess with Sonic Adventure, the point to bring up with that was probably what he was explaining the E100 series, because he's like, alright, this is the new technology I have, let's use that, and so that was what he figured of doing that, all to steal Frog, admittingly, but again, it was Gamma who did it right. And I think also the fact that he never found out Gamma betrayed him, or when he killed all of the robots, because he was distracted. But, yeah, so I think that would probably be the reason why, if I would explain it, but we do get enough of Metal Sonic every so often to show that. I guess this is probably the most effective he's been, because how many deaths am I on now? Like 10, 11, 12? Again, this is not a long game, this is the last stage, well, mostly. But, again, this is the most effective he's been so far. It's definitely the most effective that he's been with the Super Sonic Game Saturday stuff I've done, which actually I've just realized. Every Sonic game I've done so far has him in it, except for the next one we're playing tonight and Shadow the Hedgehog next month, unless there's a cameo of him in Shadow the Hedgehog. Anyway, alright. So, rolled into him, and we got one down, but we need one more. Because I do love the idea of, like, how you have, like, the boxing ring, bell going. Again, goes to the playfulness of Sonic. Alright, it's dead. I mean, yeah, Sonic's dancing around. This is how Sonic would do it. He'd just do... he'd just be doing, like, the dancing stuff and then just, roll into it. Almost. Got it. There we go. But we're not quite done yet. Because, yeah, we did destroy Mel Sonic. He has the danger for eyes. We got the 9th stage. We got all 8 camera emeralds. But, well, there's one other thing to do. The Death Egg 2 will explode in 30 seconds. And Sonic's like, no, it blows up with you on it. Blows up? Well, before it blows up, we need to fight Eggman, or we can fight Eggman. This is an extra level. You have this at the end. It's like the Dural fights in Virtua Fighter. You fight him once, you can, keep hitting him. If you kill him in 15 seconds, you get the good ending. Hopefully I can do it. Come on. Got him. There we go. If you don't do this right, I think the ending changes, but we beat him briefly. And if you die here, yeah, we get the ending. It's like Dural in Virtua Fighter, if you ever played that. And that's a franchise we're going to play sometime for this channel. But with that, yeah, look at that polygonal goodness of exploding while I'm on Tails' rocket ship. Going back to Earth, and I did like this touch where in the credits it shows the winning blow you did for each of the second rounds to defeat the enemies. Okay, so that is Sonic the Fighters. Again, I'll show that part of it off in particular. And it is a game that's a bit stiff as far as how it plays, but it's not bad. I've kind of warmed up to it a little more, and I do like the style of it. And some really great presentation, especially at the time. I would have liked to see this come on the Saturn, because I think the Saturn could have handled this game pretty nicely, even with its situations with 3D graphics. It always did have stuff on board, or tech on board, to handle it. I mentioned Fighting Vipers, I mentioned Virtua Fighter, I mentioned Fighters Megamix, even like Sega Rally in general, like that. There are a lot of good arcade ports for the Saturn, and this could have been one of them, but alas no. But we have it on the 360, PS3, GameCube, and PlayStation 2. Alright, we got a name entry. It's actually slower than when I first played it. In, what do I hit? Oh, okay, I have to hit it. Or stomp on it, as it is. Boom. Alright, so there we go. It's on an end. Alright, so ranking is 180328. First time I played it when I bought it a couple months ago is 1620. So, that's game over. Alright, so before we go on to Mean Bean Machine, let me show you how insanely easy the achievements are to get in this game. They even tell you how to get some of them. Alright, winning a perfect round, completing each stage. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for those. Destroy all of your opponent's barriers with playing arcade or offline versus, which I also did playing this. The small transformation, which again, if you get hit by the hammer, they even tell you in the achievement description, hey, here's how to get it. Then also the mirror match, which you did, so we defeated our faker, the enemy within, as they call it. And then Honey the Cat, which is... I'm going to show this off briefly. And it actually tells me how to do it. It's press start on Amy and select. So, you know what? Before we go on to Mean Bean Machine, we're going to take a brief... We'll do one fight with her, because she's a secret character. So you highlight Amy, you press start. This is, what'd they call her again? I'm pulling the achievement list up, because I just already forgot. It always slipped my mind. Honey the Cat. Alright, apparently... Okay, here's the thing about Honey the Cat. Honey the Cat is a reference to Fighting Vipers. Yeah, here's the thing. 2 stories on this. Honey the Cat was in Fighting Vipers. There was a Honey character in Fighting Vipers that had this outfit. And again, I have Fighting Vipers on 360. We'll take a look at that at some point to go into that at the time. But apparently in the comics, there was like an alternate... The Archie comics anyway. There was an alternate, I guess, version of Amy Rose, from what I understand. I think. I don't remember when that arc was, because weirdly enough, when this game was around, I was reading the Archie comic pretty religiously. I think it was actually the first 50 issues I read, and then for various reasons, I stopped, not because I didn't like what he was doing, but because certain life events, places I was going. So they put her in the game, and from what I've gathered, she kind of is... I understand. The thing I'm thinking, and again, maybe Chad, if you have an input on this, that's different, let me know of it. I think the concept was on top of the other stuff with the character. I'll do another fight at least for this. I think the idea with this is there was the idea of, in wrestling, if you're familiar, there's the idea of, like, the heel persona. I almost wonder if that's the idea of what this is for Amy. Oh, you know, speaking of which, good, we're fighting Amy, because I guess this is the sort of, I guess this is like evil Amy, if you want to put it that way, but not really. And also mixing with Fighting Vipers, so yeah, it's weird to say. I think this is the only thing we've ever seen her in. She does like the kicking thing, like the character did in Fighting Vipers. So I think that's the idea. And even like for stilettos written down with. But yeah, poor Amy, we're just totally just slamming her against the wall that way. Yeah, but I think this is the only time we just end up seeing this character in the games at least. I mean, even Sonic Mania didn't have reference to it. Although, depending on what the next side of Sonic's going to be when we eventually get an announcement that way this year, maybe we'll see her come back again. Maybe they'll pull another character out that nobody remembers that way. So, yeah. Actually, let's see what her hyper move is. Okay, so there's hyper. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, I basically did the Knuckles glide. Yeah, I did that by doing a back rotation or a half circle and the punch kick button. So I'm trying to do with Sonic. I think he does a similar thing as well. Okay, there we go. Now I'm much more successful. So now that I'm not necessarily trying as hard or putting as much of a focus into it, that's how it's going. I also want to see if I can't knock her out of the arena, because you can also do that. Come on, Amy. Okay, I hit her against the wall. Okay, so actually, you know what? We'll do one more fight with Honey the Cat, and then we'll go on to the Mean Bean Machines. You know, I'll hit Bark. Why not? All right. All right. I guess to that, again, chat. Let me know if I was wrong in anything on Honey the Cat, because in some ways I'm in sort of as much of the dark as you are. Oh, okay. I didn't know Bark would do that. He basically do the. Have you ever seen the movie Singing in the Rain, where there's a movie where it happens? Where I think it's not Jake Kelly, it's someone else who's involved in the movie or in the movie, doing like a run up on the wall and doing the backflip off. It's like that, but I'm pretty sure that the people making this game maybe didn't have Singing in the Rain on their minds, but they didn't. They should have, because that was amazing. But that's another story. That being said, I also can't think of another time when I'll be able to make Singing in the Rain, so may as well do it now. I get clapped on again by Bark the Polar Bear, and I lost. Okay, but that's fine, because I will show what happens what... Alright, so she's throwing a little temper tantrum, again, showing the quality of the animations. Well, that will see the game over. Or I'm thinking like Virtua Fighter. Game over! Alright, so with that, let's hit the back button, and let's quit. Although, actually, you know what? Yeah, we did the achievements list, we did this, played through the game. Alright, we're going to the guide, because I have the disc for Sonic Mega Collection Plus, which is backwards compatible with the original, with the 360 in here, so we can just switch it from here.